Well, Legend V2 is quickly approaching, and unless you're a top takeover team member, you haven't gotten to try out a sample yet. Today, I have put together all the things we know about Legend V2 from the Ghost YouTube channel, the Ghost post, from Dan's post, and I even called and milked a little bit more out of Dan just to get you guys the full preview. I theorized on a couple collab videos with the athlete collabs that some of these collabs would be previews of Dan trying out different ingredients, seeing how consumers like them, and he kind of validated that in a recent YouTube video. So I'm super excited to go through here and kind of relate these ingredients, new ingredients or changes or whatever they may be, to older collabs that you may have seen the hint at before. I've got a list on my computer of different changes, things coming, notes to share about Legend V2. Let's jump in and talk about what's going to be changing for V2. Most recently in the Max Tuning collab, the V2 collab for Max Tuning, we saw Nitrosigine. Now, Nitrosigine, if you follow our channel, if you're not just Legend coming over, you'll know I'm a huge fan of Nitrosigine. For a 1500 milligram dose, you get a huge pump benefit. And because citrulline is technically an arginase inhibitor, the two of them together do really well, especially because it's silicate bonded to arginine, which makes it a little bit more bioavailable. Arginine on its own doesn't have the greatest absorption. So that's been a big drawback in terms of arginine usage over the years. So we see not only a full 1500 milligram dosage of Nitrosigine, but Dan also mentioned a pairing with citrulline. Now, citrulline has been a mainstay in Legend for some time. And so when I called him, I wanted to know, hey, is the citrulline going up? Is it moving around? What are you doing? Because you said pairing, but you didn't talk about dosage. He let us know 4 grams of citrulline, which is the old dosage, is going to be sticking around. Now, in 2019, there was a study at the University of Nebraska where they studied 8 grams of citrulline malate to 1500 milligrams of arginine and found that it was almost identical in terms of pump. Now, that was citrulline malate, which was at a 2-to-1 ratio. If you remove the malic acid, you get 6 grams of citrulline pure there. We're getting a little bit less of that at 4 grams here. 4 grams is the base clinical dosage for citrulline. It's a great dosage. Sometimes you want a little bit more if it's on its own, but it's not on its own here. We have it alongside Nitrosigine. So I'm super excited because Nitrosigine gives a great pump. Citrulline at 4 grams gives a great pump, but together, I'm a big fan of them. It is a little bit expensive, but Dan jokes in the video that it's worth it for the Legends. So moving on to beta-alanine. Now, beta-alanine has been a bit of a contested thing over the years. It's a pretty controversial ingredient because it's been studied at a ton of different dosages. So in terms of what is the clinical dosage, there's a bunch of different clinical dosages that are supported. Beta-alanine needs to be taken over time. About 178 grams of it have to be consumed in close proximity for it to hit blood saturation. Now, previously they had 2 grams of it here, and that kind of worked out because Ghost V1 was kind of set up to be like a 1, 1.5, 2 scooper. You kind of could play around with it. At 1 scoop, you didn't get less than clinical dosage. You got a great pre-workout, but you could flexibly dose it if you wanted a little bit more energy or less. If you went 1, 1.5, 2 scoops, you could get up to 3,500, 4 grams of beta-alanine. But in V2, we're going to be getting 3.2 grams of beta-alanine. It's a generally accepted clinical dosage. It's what most people are looking for beta-alanine. Although it isn't the end-all, be-all of beta-alanine, I don't want this to be, hey, they're hitting the clinical dosage. They were already at a fine dosage as long as you're taking it long-term. This is going to be the generally most seen clinical dosage of beta-alanine they're coming up to here. Now, the next they said they're doubling down on alpha GPC. Now, that's not really a quantitative statement, but I called Dan. I just wanted to make sure they had 150 milligrams of alpha GPC. Now that's the yield of alpha GPC. It's a 50% yield. So they're really putting in 300 milligrams here, and they're going to be moving that up to double, Dan said. So they're going to be giving 600 milligrams, yielding 300 milligrams of alpha GPC. Now, alpha GPC is a great choline source. It's one of my favorites. Alpha GPC is stable. It's a really great source of choline, and it also has a power output benefit at this dosage, which I'm a big fan of because I'm a power lifter and I like to train. We all like to train hard. So that's a pretty cool extra benefit there. I think that this is a little bit of a callback to CGV3. Now, the original CGV3 actually had 1,200 milligrams of it, delivering 600 milligrams, but the large dose of alpha GPC was a big part of what CGV3 was about. So it's kind of cool. I think they kind of hinted at a little bit more alpha GPC. Yes, I still do have mine. Yes, it is a bit of a clump, but every here and there, I scrape out a little bit and try it out. Now, this next ingredient that we're going to be talking about here is already in it. It's going to be changing, and I don't know the actual amount. Dan didn't give to me the change. It's not in the content. I couldn't figure out what is going to be the end dosage, but it's not going to be moving all that much, in my opinion. They're talking about an increase of rauwolfia. It is at 1 milligram in Legend V1, and rauwolfia is a source of alpha yohimbe. It's a yohimbe, which is going to help with delivery of blood flow to extremities. It's going to help with energy. I really like it. It gives me like a hardcore, like, edge on training, but too much of it can result in like cold sweats, a little bit of anxiety, and kind of uncomfortability for some people. Now, alpha is an ingredient that some people will see and steer away from, but I'm here to tell you guys it varies massively at other manufacturers. But when you go to good manufacturers, usually rauwolfia is very, very tolerable. And I have found this interesting. I've spoken with a few different people. I don't know if there's a specific answer on this. Ghost's rauwolfia and some rauwolfias from good, reputable manufacturers I absolutely love. Legend has actually been kind of criticized for being not a huge stimulant product, but I think the rauwolfia in it is often overlooked. So they're going to be increasing the rauwolfia. I don't see it going over 2 milligrams. It's not going to be a huge difference, but I think it will kick in terms of actual feeling. Just on paper, it's not going to look like a huge change because rauwolfia is a very small dosed product. If they changed it too much, it could get uncomfortable quick. So I'm super excited about that one. And personally, it's an ingredient that I love. I like to add it to products. I think it gives me great workouts. And I think that it has a bit of a stigma, but if people were to try it, like recently, I think the Legends trying out V2 and not knowing what's in it, they enjoyed it. But I think that some people would kind of steer away from rauwolfia if they saw it. So I'm hoping that this is a bit of a proof that rauwolfia isn't all that bad. It's just a bit misunderstood in people's eyes. Now, getting to a more recent one, in Rob Lipsett's pre-workout, we saw in his whiskey sour a Senactiv dose. Now, Senactiv is the newly named version of Actogen. It's the same ingredient from New Live Sciences that helps deal with inflammation and senescent cells. It's an awesome ingredient that we've seen Dan using a lot of it. He's talked about it a bunch. I cannot be more excited about the addition of it to the line. It's not just going to be in Legend as well. And so I'm really excited to see what it does for people taking the product. It's going to be at a 50 milligram dosage in a V2. Now, 50 milligrams is the study dosage, and we do have content coming out about Senactiv, so I'm not going to go too far into it today. But if you are interested in learning more about it, stay tuned. Check out the content we have coming, a full breakdown on how Senactiv works, what it does for the body, and why so many athletes are loving it so much. I really love that Ghost is putting it in their pre-workout, but also products that are going to be around the day, because I think it can have a really quite profound effect for athletes that are dealing with inflammation, that are breaking down their muscle in the gym and want to make sure they're staying pain-free and progressing. So really awesome ingredient. I'm excited that they're going to be using it. New Live has a great relationship with Ghost. Ghost uses their estrogen a lot. They're big fans of them. Really excited to see Senactiv. I was a fan of it back in the day with Actogen. I forgot about it for a while. I'm excited to see it making its comeback and kind of getting on the big stage with a brand as widely sold as Ghost. Two last ingredients here. Like I said before, Ghost is a big fan of estrogen. They talk about a decent amount because of the actual increased absorption. It's in their Ghost Energy, and it helps a lot with choline. Now, before I talked about alpha GPC and the dosage going up, but Ghost is also funding studies of estrogen with increasing choline uptake. What cooler thing to do than to add it to Legend? Estrogen is going to be added into Legend V2. There's no help with absorption on Legend V1. So cool to see them adding in something like estrogen on V2. Generally cost effective to add it to a product to make sure that everything's being absorbed well. And I'm excited to see the effect that it can bring to an already good formula like Legend and creating a better absorption. Now, last change for all global products is going to be adding a gram of tyrosine. Tyrosine is an awesome ingredient. It is at least needed at 750. So a gram is going to be a nice dosage there because you can, again, flexibly scoop back and forth. The precursor to a whole bunch of different neurotransmitters. It's super helpful for focus. I have found that if I take a whole bunch of it, it gets really intense. A gram is pretty much the minimum of what I would want pre-workout. So super excited to see what it does here. It also has some other benefits in thyroid function and hormones. We're not going to get into that. Mostly what we're looking for here is is focus before the gym. There is one that's going to be a little bit interesting. The rauwolfia isn't going to be in the UK and the Australia versions. In the UK, they're going to be getting Neurofactor, which I'm a little bit jealous about, but hopefully we'll be able to get a bottle of that to compare. And in Australia, they're going to be having bitter orange, which is a source of synephrine and a bunch of other natural constituents. That's a pretty cool stimulant. This is mostly due to different compliances of different countries. Different things are legal in one area and not in the other. All the regulations are very specific to those countries. So we're going to see 4 different legends: US, Canada, UK, and Australia. So hopefully I'll be able to get a unit of each to compare for you guys so that in different countries you can understand what the differences are going to be. But mostly it's not going to be that much of a difference. It's mostly the same formula, little differences in focus and stimulants. Now, one change that isn't really to the overall formula, but you'll notice on the label, is that Legend V1 was not vegan friendly. Ghost did really well with their vegan protein, and Dan has realized over the years that there's a lot of vegans or people who are interested in animal product free SKUs. So with the removal of NADH, Legend V2 actually becomes vegan friendly. NADH was using Panmol for stabilization, which comes from beeswax, which technically isn't like a part of an animal, but beeswax, as we found on the PricePlow channel during our vegan videos, is not vegan, and they will definitely tell you that. So he did that just to kind of make sure that it's a little bit more friendly to different people who want to try out Ghost. As we've seen through our content in the comments that we get, being vegan friendly is quite a large deal. It opens you up to a whole new community. Kind of cool for them to do. In terms of things to expect with feeling, I tried it out and I really loved it. It was like a step up from Legend V1. I consider Legend to be a pre-workout that I can do pretty much anything on. I can do pump workouts, I can do heavy workouts, I can go really heavy if I want, I can add a little bit extra, I can have a deload week where I'm doing a little bit less and still enjoy Legend. It's a very versatile pre-workout for me. Ghost always kind of, I mean, they want to have a product that is as widely usable as possible because their community base is all sorts of different people. There's physique athletes, there's bodybuilders, there's gamers, there's people who just want to be fit, there's powerlifters, there's a lot of different people that they want to be able to hit, but they will always accept and admit that one product is not going to fit all, but they did a pretty good job here with Legend. A couple notes that we heard from the takeover team outside of myself, if you want to look at other people's opinions. One person said, I think it was Halen, I'm not 100% sure, someone on that call said that they liked a lot better than CGV3. Now, CGV3 was one of the most popular launches in Ghost history, and so for it to be more popular than that was kind of surprising. My buddy Andrew Calvino, yes, I recognize you on that call, man, said that he felt that it feels a lot like 1.5 scoops of V1, which is a really good note because it's kind of what Ghost was going for. The original is going to be 1 scoop, 30 servings per container, but if you were to take 1.5, you're going to get 20 scoops. This one, Legend V2, is going to feel like 1.5 scoops, but you're getting 25 servings per bottle. So they're kind of removing the need to buy different bottles for different servings, whatever it is. If you want to take 1 scoop a day, you can, and you're going to get that same feeling from when you were taking 1.5 and still get more servings. That's all that I've got for today. That's a review of all the stuff that's out there, some of my personal experience. I milked in for a little bit more. Hopefully this helps you guys who weren't able to get a sample understand what's going to be coming out. All that I know is literally all that I know. Complete truth here is that Legend, Pump, and Size will be launched by June. And I realize that's a lot of time between now and then. But consider the fact that there are going to be a bunch of different flavors launching with each SKU. Even if it's just a relaunch of the old flavors into the new version, recognize that Ghost is doing a lot of work here. This is a stressful time for them. They don't have an exact date for us yet, but as soon as they do, I'll be sharing it with you guys soon. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it was informative. And I hope that people who aren't able to get their hands on a baggie just yet feel like they understand what's coming and you guys get excited for the launch coming soon. So as always, guys, I do have to say, I did get these products for free. Obviously I can't get a sample for purchase. We are friends with the guys over at Ghost and we have a business affiliate relationship with the guys. So we are biased in that we like what they do. They bring a lot to the industry. They help a lot. They legitimize us. And obviously through all these collabs, high quality products, testing, authenticity, they legitimize our industry and elevate us towards hopefully more funding for this industry, more respect for this industry from larger industries, and just kind of getting us out of the rut that is supplements in general. So yes, we are biased towards them, but I think they're doing some cool stuff and they probably deserve that, bias. So I know that this was a bit of a longer video for just a preview. I didn't actually have a supplement facts panel to break down or give you anything. This is just my notes that I pulled off of YouTube and a few different posts from the guys. I hope that it is helpful and interesting to you guys. As always, guys, I appreciate being this far in the video. If you have any questions, leave them below. I do check the comments, and I'd love to talk to you about this product, any of the V2s coming, or ghosts in general. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.